I woke up feeling ready to get on the plane to LA.
Recording your whole entire trip?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Good luck.
That was my roommate Nadia. She was driving me to the airport. And yes, that's exactly what I did. From security to liftoff. I did my best to capture my entire weekend traveling to and attending my very first hackathon. I was going with a group of women to represent Nevada's Reynolds School of Journalism. There was a total of 10 of us from the Reynolds School headed to the all-female hackathon called Hack the Gender Gap at USC's Journalism School. Hack the Gender Gap focused on using virtual reality and immersive journalism. What's virtual reality? Well, basically, when you put on those goggles, you enter a three-dimensional scene where you can interact with your surroundings. Now, it was time for the challenge.
Create a startup.
Yeah.
This is your thing. So service, product, app, could be hardware, software, anything, a business related to immersive journalism. Related to, has to be journalism, it has to be immersive in some way. So it doesn't have to be headgear, doesn't have to be software, it could be kind of anything. As long as it's a business that has an audience and you can show it's going to make money some way or another. But basically immersing people in the story. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like seeing the character in their environment being like seeing the farmer actually do things. So they're the one that somehow
It was beautiful to be surrounded by women who shared my passion for storytelling.
Story, because a lot of times too, I feel like I read articles that are so surface level, and the people like, oh, it talks a little bit about maybe what they're going through, but not how it really settles with them.
We spent all day thinking of ideas for a startup that would use virtual reality to tell stories in journalism. After a while, we started to get a little loopy.
For the hike, the nature hike, did Google Maps because it's so pixelated.
It just
there it is. There it is. Okay, this is not a nature hike. We are freaking. I'm sorry.
Listen, I want to play with the cardboard too.
But
We also got to hear from professionals that are in the journalism and virtual reality industry.
How do those models work on their platform? How did CNN work for cable? Unfolding moments, I think, are often what I start with. Like, we used to call that verite documentary filmmaking.
She's doing work that would put people in scenes of certain events, like this one here. Before we knew it, the next day came, and it was time to present our idea. But not before we got in some last-minute reporting, where we walked around USC and asked people what they wanted to know.
How come Donald Trump is being so popular?
If you go at the DMV and get a license now, you're automatically registered to vote in California. How that is going to affect maybe underrepresented populations, how they're able to vote now.
Pues mi pregunta sería ¿por qué Donald Trump está atacando tanto a la gente hispana?
This is a step in the future, and I don't know where it's going, but this is pretty amazing.
Our idea for our startup was to have the public submit questions. Then you'd be put in the journalist's shoes as they report and find the answers to your questions. It's called Virtually Possible.
So now we're going to announce the winner, which is Team Cheetah Habitat.
We didn't win, but I was grateful just for the experience, and to be a part of something that empowered women in journalism and technology. You see, what's really cool about journalism in particular is that it takes you places you wouldn't have gone, and it brings people into your life that you wouldn't have met without it. As a journalist, you get to hear people's stories, and those stories or thoughts can shape you in the lens that you see life through. You connect and learn. It's just a beautiful thing. It's true. journalism is evolving, and it's important that women are a part of that journey and that process. My name is Alexa Ard, and I'm an aspiring journalist. I know I'll definitely continue to hack the gender gap.